Okay, so you've heard of jumping the shark. They need a whole other phrase for what the Dexter finale was. So when Dexter was introduced in 2006, it carved out a space like no other. It was genuinely something new. A forensic blood spatter analyst by day and a calculated serial killer by night. Dexter was the anti-hero audiences couldn't help but root for. But when the series finale aired in 2013, the tone took a sharp nosedive. What viewers expected was closure. What they got was confusion, disappointment, and an ending that had us all asking,
what in the hell was that all about?
I've said it once and I will say it again. When writers forget, ignore, or are simply unaware of what made a book, a movie, a show, or a character special, that one thing, that certain element that they nailed so perfectly, if that is forgotten, then the finished product is doomed. So what made Dexter special was that he was a genuine psychopath. A psychopath who just happened to have a set of guidelines to mitigate all the evil he is supposedly doing, but a psychopath nonetheless. Now, to the uninitiated, that means he has zero concept of other people's feelings. No empathy, nothing. Which means he doesn't feel sorry for anyone, he has no sense of pity, and a lesser-known trait is there is also very little thought given to abstract ideas like getting caught, which is why the set of rules his adopted father gave him are so handy. And that was the premise of the show when it started. A psychopath with zero compassion and a flair for dismemberment. Despite this, Dexter managed to capture the attention and the allegiance of audiences everywhere. Now, under normal circumstances, a well-adjusted person would not root for this guy. But not us sickos, we were into it. Why? Because he focused his crimes on people who most could agree had it coming. And that's what kept us watching every week. The socially awkward interactions of a person only pretending to have a connection with the people around him, who also had a contrasting, heavily disciplined, homicidal side. The series kept us in its grips for several seasons that were usually peppered with a few minor kills and with one big fish whose arc usually spanned the entire season. It was a formula that worked, but the question that hung in the air throughout all 8 seasons was, when is all of this going to catch up with him? When is Dexter going to be caught? And as the finale approached, the answer to that ever-lingering question crept closer. Unfortunately, the writers lost their damn mind. Someone pumped their office full of idiot gas, or someone hit their head. Something happened because nothing else explains the cluster whoops that was the Dexter finale. And the downfall began when they decided to make Deb, Dexter's sister, develop romantic feelings for her brother. And I just know there's someone out there saying, but he was her adopted brother. They weren't blood related. I mean, if the only thing stopping you from getting the hots for a family member is DNA, then I don't know what to tell you. Except Kentucky is that way, my friend. Oh, but they did Dexter so dirty. They decimated him. And this is what I don't understand. Why spend so many seasons building a character up, making him the hero, just to trash him in the end? He's got some pretty gruesome ways, but there's no question he was cleaning up the streets. Now, we didn't create him. We didn't write the story. They did. They wrote something presumably they wanted audiences to love. And when we did, our big reward was to see it destroyed. It makes no sense. See, there are a few rules to writing, at least rules for not becoming the most hated sucker in Hollywood. And the first rule is to not totally screw your main character over. At least not as your final move. Now, there is almost no limit to how many support characters can bite the dust, but when you genuinely start targeting your main character, the character your audiences have invested the most time into, it's not going to go over well, and that's because, generally speaking, the audiences either consciously or subconsciously will begin to identify with your main character. if they're written properly. They see the main character doing the things they wish they could do or that they admire on some level. So when you start to purposefully and thoroughly break them down and have them fail at every turn, it stops being fun to watch pretty damn fast. Up until the finale, Dexter had maintained a certain psychological elegance. Each kill, each inner monologue, each ethical tightrope was part of a carefully composed pattern. But in that last season, the pattern unraveled. Rather than giving the audiences a thrilling, tragic, or even shocking payoff they had come to expect, the finale sidestepped resolution altogether. And a major shift was the show's sudden abandonment of its usual psychological depth. Dexter had always been introspected, guided by his dark passenger and his own twisted but consistent moral code. But by the final episode, that voice had quieted. His decision to unplug his sister Deborah from life support and dump her in the ocean felt wildly uncharacteristic. So, how should the series have ended? Well, there were so many great bad guys throughout this series. It would have been great to have one sort of final boss that damn near gets the best of Dexter. They could have had any number of close calls, but at no point should Dexter have ever been caught. Why? Because Dexter was never really a villain. He didn't deserve to be caught. And even more than that, they should have never tried to develop a love interest between siblings. Part of the issue may also be that Dexter broke its own rules. From the start, the series established a moral code, however twisted. Dexter only killed those who deserved it. His inner voice, his rituals, and the struggle to connect emotionally were all handled with eerie consistency. But the finale tossed almost all of that aside. Years later, the response to the finale was so strong that Showtime attempted to course correct with a new show called Dexter: New Blood. The revival was in many ways a chance to rewrite the ending of the original series and give fans a more satisfying ending. Now, whether New Blood succeeded is still debated, but its very existence is a testament to just how much the original finale missed the mark. In the end, Dexter was a show that thrived on precision in both its storytelling and its main character's actions. The finale, however, was messy, and for a series that once dissected the psychology of a killer with surgical care, that kind of ending just felt like a betrayal. Not because Dexter lived or died, but because the show stopped understanding who he was. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.